Evening. I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Cunningham Town Board for Monday, February 8th, 2021. Is the clerk ready to begin?
Yes.
Okay. Will you please call the roll?
Ms. Wu?
Here.
Mr. Sachs?
Here.
Ms. Hersey?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Roberts?
Here.
Mr. Colebrook?
Here.
Mr. Miller? Mayor
Here.
Marling? Ms. Shenoweth? Mr. Williams?
Here.
Present.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is minutes from the meeting of January 11th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
I'll second, and I'm here, Ms. Clerk.
Okay, thank you.
Moved by Mary Alice, seconded by Jared. Are there any corrections? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu?
Yes.
Mr. Sachs?
Yes.
Ms. Hersey?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Roberts?
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
That motion passes. Are there any additions to the agenda? I would note that an updated version of the intergovernmental agreement was emailed to town board members along with the supervisor's report and the 2020 impacts. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is public participation. If you'd like to speak during the town board meeting, please raise your hand. First person to speak, Jennifer Ivory Tatum, Superintendent Tatum.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. I am going to be really short. Today is NAPA Day in the district, so National African American Parent Involvement Day, so I'm hopping between Zooms here. But I didn't want to miss the opportunity to join in tonight and just say a couple of words about the intergovernmental agreement that you guys are going to be talking about tonight. Danielle is going to go through all the details. She came to our board meeting last week. We were really grateful to have her and her team come out to be able to share that information with us. We're super excited about this partnership with the township. So I wanted to kind of publicly via Zoom, thank Danielle and her team. I wanted to thank Danielle for her leadership and for her team in their diligence and to support Urbana families. We're very excited about the ability to be able to support some of our homeless families that are struggling with secure housing right now, and this agreement and this partnership will benefit not just the city of Urbana, but our families, our students, and our community as a whole. So I just wanted to say thank you. I know you guys haven't signed it yet. I'm kind of forecasting that hopefully you will. Our board was very excited about the opportunity, and we'll be bringing it back on February 16th with just those couple of changes that you're going to see tonight. So thank you very much. And I appreciate having a few minutes to come and talk tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Ivory Tatum.
Thank you.
Next person to speak, I see Alan Max Axelrod.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to start off with a very unique phrase. I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate it here. Regardless of what else I say, I would like for you to just go ahead and pass this thing, amended or no. Because there are some very concerning things to bring up. And it fundamentally goes into the difference between progressive policy and progressive practice. So you can have one, not the other. It's a very, very simple idea once you break it down. And the reason that I bring this up is because there's been some misinformation shared by public officials, present, plural. And that misinformation has a single source. And that single source is actually lying to them out of desperation for hiding their own professional misconduct. So it's very, very interesting that upon accusations of people being low information QAnon conspiracy theorists, the irony is twofold. One is that the allegations that exist for that conspiracy theory, as it purports, do not actually exist. That's a really confounding thing. So the persons breathing life into it are in this body, including the supervisor. The second thing is more about this low information aspect. I very much encourage rigorous analysis, rigorous policy, because our human rights depend on it. And adopting, perhaps out of desperation, unconfirmed and in fact factually inaccurate information, trying desperately to behind sometimes privacy barriers on social media, purport that there are people teaming up with right-wingers to talk about trafficking in contexts that just aren't true. See, the reality is that there are two investigations going on. One is an internal organization's process regarding professional misconduct, and the other is earned media coverage of the Champaign County Democrats, featuring also the Township Supervisor Danielle Chenoweth, for professional misconduct. Now, a bit of history on this. About 2 weeks ago, I had sent an email to the Champaign County Democratic Party, and I outlined instances of professional misconduct from several officials, including Kyle Patterson, including Stephanie Furtado, including Jordan Humphrey, including Emily Rodriguez, and including Township Supervisor Danielle Chenoweth. That information was shared outside of the executive body, so I do not have any restraint in sharing that information as I did with the journalists. And the other thing is that no matter how many Ys you put in independent media to try and disparage an outlet you don't know, whose process involves interviews with not one, not two, not three, not four people, but more, with testimonials being collected based off of people's lived experience, we just have to ask, why? Because there is a seminar that I was very, very appreciative of, and I actually learned about it in the township when I worked there. It was a domestic abuse seminar by the Courage Connection on January 18th, 2019. It's amazing who didn't learn from that. Have a good night.
Does anyone else wish to address the Cunningham Town Board? Haki?
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Drake Matira Haki, resident of Champaign, a recent graduate of the University of Illinois in Community Health. I am not here to discuss anything but serious issues that must be addressed. I understand that the powers that be love numbers and evidence. Although there is evidence of racism and structural violence, I will give you numbers. Someone, great person, comrade, did a capstone project on homelessness in Champaign. And although homelessness is decreasing in Champaign, the demographic of the homeless population is ever changing. Only 14% of the population in all of Champaign County is Black. Only Black people only make up 14%. But in regards to homelessness, Black people make up 54% of that share. In regards to racial disparities regarding family, 70% of families nationally with children are Black. The homeless families with children are Black, slightly above the average. Oh, that is actually here regarding Champaign County's homeless Black population for families. if we're talking about my fault, I'm still trying to, I'm reading the graphs and the numbers now. The number of homeless men has declined by 26%, while the number of women increased by 45%, meaning that there is structural violence regarding race and gender, as the increase in domestic violence survivors or victims as it relates to homelessness in Champaign. Since 2005, there has been a 263% increase in homelessness there. So there's a direct need to actively create institutions and structures that are targeted to LGBTQ plus individuals, Black women, domestic survivors. It is not enough to simply say we have resources that benefit everyone. Not one tide lifts all boats. Some people have cruise liners and other people have dinghies. And we have to get rid of that thinking, the idea of equal opportunity that exists, and the idea that if we just put the resources out there for everyone, that it will benefit everyone equally. There are only three things that come to mind in regards to the institutions, structures that are supposed to give assistance to homeless individuals. One of those is what does the communication look like in regards to sending out the information to marginalized communities? Two, is it are the resources easily accessible? We understand that many people go hungry because pantries ask for so much food. Ask for so much information for individuals to get food. But we understand that there is a mistrust against the system, a mistrust that is not exaggerated. So my third thing is, what are the institutions doing to create a sense of confidence in itself? How can they build confidence amongst the people to actively go to the organizations that are here? If the organizations that are here say that they do the work, then I would love to see individuals who are most vulnerable have the confidence to go and achieve and get the resources needed. I leave with that and say, I believe everyone here and everyone that is organized, that's been organizing, and those who have been organizing before I even came to Champaign, that we all understand what needs to be done and the work that needs to be done and the issues that we must face. And I hope that the numbers that I've said tonight can shine a light on terms of some of the recommendations needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to address the town board? Rita Connerly.
Good evening. My name is Rita Connerly. I'm a resident of Champaign. I am here to address the town board regarding some concerns, and I just kind of wanted to echo what Drake has stated and some of the things that he has stated, as well as Alan. Additionally, I wanted to also commend the work of the Township office in partnership with the Unit 116 to attempt to provide housing for those families. I think this is one step in the right direction to eradicating homelessness here within the Champaign, Urbana communities. Additionally, I just wanted to speak to unethical behaviors and misconduct. I think that we are in this community together. And if we are considered progressives, I think that we collectively should be aiming towards some of the same goals. To have conduct from professionals in a way which appears to be egotistical. There seems to be an arrogance surrounding the support that we're providing to the clients in our community. And I just don't think that we should be looking at the most vulnerable people as subject matters. And I know that data is important. However, people policies and taking the approach of supporting individuals who are in most need is definitely not a political matter. It's unfortunate that it takes political seats in order to effectively change some of the systems and some of the experience of many of our most marginalized communities. However, as individuals who are serving in positions of quote unquote power, I think that it's very important that we humble ourselves in those positions. This, again, it's a collaborative approach. Oftentimes it's necessary to be in contact and have communication and relationships with people with whom you're not either comfortable with or personally have a despise for. Again, I don't think that politics is a social club. We are not here to for self-satisfaction and or self-gain. It is my whole intentions that each of our county board members, or I'm sorry, our township members, and those who are serving in the seats that can effectively generate both revenue and change for our community, that we are doing so in a manner that is, again, people first. I am a little also disappointed at the fact that our assessor has the people's assessor. I don't think that that is his title professionally. He is the township's assessor. And I think that it would just be a little, just for the sakes of making sure that we are politically correct, I think that that would be beneficial for him to update his title, especially for those who do not attend these meetings often. But I just wanted to finally kind of notate that, we know that Township only does one, they have a lot of jobs that they can do. You're not aware of issues. If you don't know about them, sometimes we have to vocalize those through social media. There seems to be quite a tension using social media platforms with both citizens as well as professionals. And I think that when we are interacting, that we must maintain that professionalism, regardless if you are speaking in or acting on behalf of your position or individually, independently. I think, again, it's important. Those titles that you wear, you take them with you. I think I've learned that, but it's important that we are listening to the people, that our approaches are people first, and that we take the hauntiness out of it and making sure that we are humble while also serving. Thank you.
Does anyone else wish to address the town board? Okay, I don't see any more hands raised. We'll move on to committee to verify bills.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So in the town fund this last month, we had $94,814.40. In the general assistance fund, we had $86,365.66. Our total is $181,180.06. I'll just note our general assistance is up to 127 current participants. That's up from 125 last month. Just to give a frame of reference, City of Champaign Township hovers around 30 participants. They have a more constrained program. 54 of our participants are homeless. That's up 2 from last month, about 42%. We have 80 males, 47 females, and 0 transgender and gender nonconforming individuals. And the community work program remained closed in January 2021. I will note that with rental assistance, as I had announced at the last meeting, I adjusted the rules because during COVID, the number of people behind on rent has increased and the rental arrears have increased dramatically. So with help from state funds, we've been able to increase the assistance up to 3 months of assistance for COVID impacted households. We also support households that are not COVID impacted. A lot of the households we serve are people on SSI, which provides only $793 per month. And there's no place in town that you can live independently on that and not be rent burdened. So we have increased our rental assistance cases. This last month we had 10. I have another 15 on deck, just waiting for my approval today. So I expect that to actually be significantly higher next month. In terms of emergency housing, you will see in the bills, and we'll talk about the emergency housing for Urbana families in a second when we get to that agenda item. But See at Home, we've been providing immediate emergency hotel stays for homeless residents staying in Champaign-Urbana, at See You at Home or Austin's Place to rest and quarantine while they felt ill or had symptoms and were awaiting COVID results. So if positive, public health has been paying for their quarantine, just like they would pay any resident in town that did not have an adequate place to quarantine. So you will see in the town bills at $3,945.96. That's basically for what would be quarter two expenses, reimbursement to See You at Home. I have hotel receipts and proof of payment. So See You at Home fronted that money, then provided the receipts, proof of payment, and we have paid them back. Luckily, we have really seen very little transmission in the shelters, and I think it's in part due to this privately funded through our Angel Donor Fund program that provides those hotel stays. And let's see, the other piece I just wanted to, I shared this and you'll see it also on social media, or I want to give props to our intern Shubika, who graphically designed the 2020 impacts. So I just want to point out that when I came in 4 years ago, we had 26 participants. Thank you, Jason. So we had 26 clients on general assistance, and it was our only program. And I really want to thank my team and the internship program, the School of Social Work, our volunteers. We've had over $75,000 in angel donors in a single year. And it really is the entire community that really helped to pull together and make this happen, including the town board. You approve our budget each year. So in general assistance, we have, in 2020, we supported 354 households, about $500,000. In rental assistance, we supported about $45,000, 75 households, and that includes 71 children. That's both for homeless move-ins as well as folks who are behind on rent. We added emergency housing, and that includes both the program with See You at Home and our pilot emergency housing for Urbana families that we piloted under COVID and hope to make permanent. Permanent as long as we need it. Actually, we'd like to eradicate homelessness and close the township if we could. But emergency housing, we've spent $7,643 to house 25 adults and 11 children. Of course, that was only a partial year. And then subsidized housing, we have started, as you know, housing advocacy. We have signed up 76 households for subsidized housing. There are extensive wait lists. We've been able to move 14 people into housing. We recently launched a program called Township Housewarming. We actually provide up to several $100s in furnishings for a homeless household to move into housing so they can get plates and cups and furniture, mattresses. We have a bed program we work with RPC, so the beds are taken care of separately. But that piece really helps for people to move in and have some things to start their housed lives with. We have been up to 14. These are folks that include a number of folks who have been chronically homeless, which means that they've basically been homeless on and off for over a year. Disability support, we had 32 people we have helped to apply or appeal their disability payments in 2020. 11 were awarded SSI payments. And as you know, with our partnership with Channing Murray Foundation and Sola Gracia, we have been providing food support during COVID. It has been so successful, we intend to continue it. And I agree with some of the members of the public who talk about accessibility. Oftentimes people can't get to a food pantry. They don't have transportation, or they are ill, or they are immune compromised, or they have concerns about getting to the pantry. And the pantries do sometimes request information, and you can only go a certain amount of times in a month. Our bucket brigade has delivered 912 food buckets. That's 2 weeks of food pantry provisions. St. Vincent de Paul provides the food pantry provisions for free. We thank them very much. That has served 1,670 adults, 1,034 children, and we delivered 48 holiday dinners. And we also, through our Solidarity Gardens initiative, which is a broad collaboration spearheaded by Township, but certainly much broader in terms of the Park District in particular, the library and other partners at the table, produced over 3,000 pounds of fresh produce that we delivered to community members. We did not request any information other than where do you live, and we support people regardless of documented status. We have Spanish speakers, French speakers, we have sign language interpreters, and we've been able to communicate and get that food to folks. That has only cost us $33,036. So in terms of like, you know, bang for your buck, the emergency housing and the food support have been huge with very small investments. And I kind of want to point that out to the town board as we go forward. We have grants to 17 organizations. Those grants are about $130,000. And in this last year, we have launched utility support. Thank you to the Unitarian Church, which has raised over $8,000 in private donations. We've been able to turn people's water back on same day. All we require is their water bill, and we'll do it for anyone in the county. Power, we are paying off if they have met their limit with LIHEAP or they have any other barriers, such as not having physical Social Security cards. We will then help to pay off their utilities. We have helped 40 people sign up and receive free phones through the Lifeline program. That's not paid for through Township, but our case managers provide that assistance. And then we helped 80 individuals with stimulus payment help. And we've had over 600 coats distributed. That's more than we've ever had. This is our 4th year of doing warm winter gear. And so definitely the demand, but also the supply has been up. I just want to thank Urbana voters, the 63%, and everyone who is in Urbana for approving more funding. And we wanted to compile these statistics for you to let you know how our impact has grown over the last 4 years. I'm happy to take any questions, and then we can pass it to Wayne if he has an update.
Questions for Danielle? Mary Alice.
Can I ask questions about the bills for a moment, Danielle? Is that okay?
Absolutely, sure.
So I noticed, did Thomas Delgato leave?
Yes, he has taken a full-time position working with Native communities on food justice issues. We're very proud of him.
All right. Well, that's a very sad loss for the township, but good for him. And I noticed, I noticed that there was a News Gazette. Are you filling that position, or is that for another position?
Oh no, I haven't filled the position yet. I think the News Gazette is leftovers from the tax levy notifications in December that were paid in January.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Bill.
Not a question, but I feel like since it's tax time, I need to remind people to apply for the earned income credit if you qualify. And every year, about $30 million, more than $30 million comes into Champaign County from the earned income credit, and 1 out of 5 people don't claim it. And it's not necessarily for real low income people. It actually maxes out if you're making $30,000, $40,000, you're a single parent, you can get $6,000 or more back in the earned income credit. So be sure to remind people to do that. And with minimum wage going up, it makes it a little bit easier to make more, so you get more back. Also this year, there's a special provision that since a lot of people were laid off mid-year, they may not be able to max out the earned income credit, so they can actually use 2019 income to apply for that credit. So there's a lot of options there, and we want to make sure we maximize that. And thanks for the work on making sure people getting their stimulus too, and that will be coming up again too.
Yes, and just so you know, we continue to do the stimulus check connection work, and we always notify our participants of the earned income tax credit. Many of them don't qualify from the general assistance side, but they do with rental assistance, and so we send that out. And
in some cases, they're staying with people who do qualify for extra because they have somebody that's staying with them. So there's a lot of different things to consider. And if, if we don't have, there aren't a lot of volunteer preparers. So, it may be worth it for some people to actually go and have their pay for it and make sure that their condition is, they get some professional help to make sure they max it out.
Any other questions? Any other questions for Danielle? Okay, is there a motion to approve the bills?
So
I'll
moved.
make a motion. I'll second then.
Moved by Bill Brown, seconded by Mary Alice. Any further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Mr. Sachs,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. Reports of officers.
I think I gave my report. Go ahead, Wayne.
The Cunningham Township Assessor's Office has completed, pretty much completed the move to Lincoln Square. We're still doing some unpacking. Unfortunately, because of the pandemic, the office is so close to the public. However, I do make myself available for appointments. I'm always available over the phone, over Zoom. I've even made house calls to help seniors fill out their senior exemption forms if needed. If there are any assessment issues or questions, feel free to call the office, 217-367-7059. Unfortunately, with the move, we did lose a bit of productivity, but we're starting to pick that back up now that everything is settled. I think that we're actually gonna realize some savings due to us going to moving our camera system to a serverless environment and moving it to the cloud. So the server upgrade that we budgeted for, we won't be utilizing all of that money, and so we'll have some savings there. Lastly, I would like to remind people that as the elected assessor, people, actual real life people, voted for me, and I am the assessor. And as the assessor, I do the basic job of assessor, which is to do my best to assess property. But on top of that, I view this position as a privilege, the privilege of service. And I take that privilege very seriously. Everyone here takes that service seriously. Though we may not all agree on every single thing, I know that everyone here takes that service, that privilege of service seriously. The only person here for their own self-gain is Fred Grosser. He charges by the hour, and that's okay, that's his job. One of the things I did that goes above and beyond my role of assessor is apply for a grant from the state of Illinois for over $200,000. Now, yes, I needed some of that money for myself to do things that I thought would protect my staff in the midst of a pandemic. It was only a quarter of that money that I needed. The rest, I applied for Danielle. Did I know what she was going to use it for? No. I honestly don't really know what Danielle does on a daily basis. What I do know is that her and her staff work their asses off to help people in need. And I knew that that money would be used to help people in need. And that's all I needed to know. I couldn't even reach her to ask her how much she needed from the grant because she was busy helping people in need. I have seen her staff take calls after hours, deliver food baskets. They have even, without my knowledge, deputized some of my staff to deliver food, clothes, volunteer at coat drives. And Danielle does not seek attention for these efforts. I myself very sparingly use social media. and that's okay. I don't seek that type of spotlight. And I hope to be elected, and it looks like I will be again, by the people, by actual real life people who can vote, to be the assessor for the next 4 years. That's my report.
Thank you, Wayne. Any questions for Wayne? Any additional report from Supervisor?
No, that's all. I will say that we always appreciate our volunteers, including those from the assessor's office that we rope in to deliver food.
Next item is new business.
So first we have a resolution T-2021-02001R authorizing the supervisor to sign an intergovernmental agreement with the School District of Education of the Urbana School District number 116 for the purposes of providing emergency housing services to homeless families with the Urbana School District boundaries. Do you want to put a motion on the table and then I can provide an update?
Sure. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve
Moved by Dennis.
the resolution as posted.
Okay. I didn't hear the second.
I'll second.
Moved by Dennis, seconded by Mary Alice. Discussion.
Just briefly, a quick update on this. So, and I put this in the supervisor's memo and we will get it up on the website. So essentially, we have had under COVID a emergency housing for Urbana families out of the necessity of not having same-day shelter for families in our community. And I, as you know, because I've been, beating my shoe on the table for 3 years over this, we've been seeking other organizations we could resource to do this work. We've attempted to expand the current shelter for the county, which is only 8 units for the entire county. They do an excellent job. It's just that they don't have enough space for people in the community. And so COVID hit and there was no more room for us to look for other options. So we opened this program, which I announced to you at the time, and we began to house families. We have been, I have a case manager who runs this as well as our Bridge to Home program, which is rapid rehousing for literally homeless individuals and families. And we really, I think, have stepped into that case management role that was missing with Regional Office of Education. And that's their explanation of some of the concerns they had when they closed their program in May of 2019. That program only provided 3 to 8 days of housing. We essentially provide the housing that's needed, and our average stay is 39 days. So that is very reasonable. We have a very good relationship with a local hotel that charges us monthly, and we've been able to provide supportive services, diapers, food, technology, phones, connection to social services, and maternal health and well-being. So pretty intensive case management on that, and it has been very successful. We haven't had any family return to literal homelessness. So on the agenda tonight is this resolution, and you may ask, well, if you're already doing it, why would we need this resolution? What we would like is, so essentially the model that we're using is 2 to 4 rooms of temporary emergency housing reserved for families who are literally homeless. And those families must have children enrolled in Urbana schools or staying overnight at crisis nursery. So essentially, because we are taxpayer funded in Urbana, we need to preserve that piece, which is that the children are in Urbana schools. We certainly have messaged, could share this program with Champaign. We're happy to look at options of getting state funding to serve the county. So if we are funded to serve the county, we could consider that. But right now we are funded to serve Urbana. A family is referred through the partner agency, and we're requesting written memorandum of understanding from those agencies. We have the crisis nursery we have an MOU The school district wanted an intergovernmental agreement. That was their choice. We were happy to assist. We have actually already met with their school counselors and principals. We provided orientation to the program. They're currently referring folks, but this really kind of cements that relationship and makes it clear, you know, between leadership and various things. It kind of stabilizes what that relationship looks like. What was very important to us is that every staff member in Urbana know that they can refer and how to refer. So before we were hearing from staff members, you know, it might be a counselor in the middle school who a child said, you know, disclosed they don't have any place to stay or they're staying in an unsafe place. So we were working with individuals, and I felt like it was very important to broaden that and make it clear that it's for the you know, any staff member. So we've conducted that orientation and we'll continue to do that. And we've had very good success with both of those partnerships. And then I would just want to note that this program is not appropriate for families fleeing or at risk of domestic violence, because they should be referred to Courage Connections Domestic Violence Hotline. So part of that screening and referral is just to make sure that since we do not have the security of a domestic violence shelter, that people are being referred appropriately. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have or any concerns you have about the resolution before you. I just want to note it's the newer resolution. I just got it today from the school district. They made a few tweaks, and I noted in the email to you exactly what numbers were changed.
Questions? Mary Alice.
It looks like one of the things that was updated was number 9, which gives it an end date of June 30th, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So basically 3 years. Was that to coincide with the fiscal year?
I think it's yet to coincide with fiscal year, but also because the board wanted to just look at it they wanted to be involved, and they found that the best mechanism for that kind of regular engagement and involvement was to have it sunset. And I have no concerns with that. I mean, this agreement is, there's no exchange of goods or there's really no exchange of goods or services, so to speak. We're not offering the school district any services. We're basically serving our constituents, but we have an understanding of what that referral process will look like.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Looks like we're ready to vote. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Mr. Sachs,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. Last item is Resolution T21-02-002R, authorizing supervisor to sign an agreement NJS Enterprises for case management software. Could we get a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve that resolution.
I'll second.
Moved by Jared, seconded by Sharice. Danielle, discussion?
So simply, this is another seat of case management software. As we continue to grow programs, we max out and are not able to actually get into our case management system. It's $2,500 licensing agreement. We become heavily reliant upon this piece of software as we're, I think I may have mentioned this to you before, but when we were over the holidays, we received 200 applications in 2 weeks. That's a record. And there's a lot of inputting of information and case management that's needed with that. So just asking you to approve additional seats so that we can we can all be in the software at the same time.
So the council's already approved the agreement itself, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
You've approved the agreement. You're basically just allowing us to purchase an additional piece of software.
Okay. Bill, you had a question?
I can't remember if is this an annual fee or is this a one-time?
It's a one-time fee with the annual maintenance fee that is a portion. It's 20%.
Okay.
Per seat.
Do you happen to know how many seats we have now? Or
We have 6. This will be 7.
Okay, thanks.
And I have about 12 full-time equivalents, so that gives you a sense, but some of them don't use that software. They'll use other software that we have, or they're using accounting software primarily.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Mr. Sachs,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. And seeing we have no further business before this board, this meeting is adjourned.